But with that, I do want to introduce our guest today, Mariana Smith. She works as, well, actually, I'll let you give the blurb on what you do in your day job, but we are going to be talking about just opportunities for continuing education, higher education. If you have a degree, there are a lot of resources out there, and we just want to kind of make that known. So like I've even before this call, we were chatting a little bit, and I was like, I did not know that was there. I did not know that was there. So before long, we might all be pursuing either degrees, masters, or continue or certifications, but we'll figure that out as we go. So anyway, do a quick introduction on what do you do in your day job and how do you help people?
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Like you said, my name is Mariana Smith. I am a site director for correctional education. So I go into a prison and I educate currently 65 inmates in higher education. I help them anywhere from admissions. So I know all the stuff about admissions, how to get into college, the different rules and regulations. I do financial aid, so I know all about how to fix financial aid if there's problems. I work with, I'm a certifying veteran official, not with my current school, but I have done that for over 10 years because I am a military spouse and was active duty with my husband 16 years and now 4 retired. That gives my age a little bit, but that's okay. I also know admissions, academics. I'm a big academic. I have taught myself in an education setting. I taught in secondary school. I have taught in high school. And of course, I've taught in college. I've also worked in workforce reentry. And I have also done veteran affairs stuff for resumes and anything to do with jobs and getting jobs and doing certification programs. My previous employer was Goodwill in Arizona, and I did the certification for workforce reentry with them as well. So anything to do with education, I've done it all the way from kindergarten to secondary education.
I absolutely love that you work truly in corrections reform because you're changing people's lives by giving them educational opportunities. I didn't actually know that until before this call, and I'm like, but you're actually solving, like you're making the change in the world. So I'm so excited to hear a lot of your insights on just like resources and also like if any of you are trying to pivot or career gap or any of those things, it sounds like she might have some great insights on that. So please do feel free to ask questions in chat. You can raise your hand if you have to, if you want to chime in, if you have perspective yourself. Like this can be a completely organic conversation that goes in the direction that's most helpful for you. But I was telling her beforehand that I toy with the idea, do I want a master's? Do I need a master's? Do I want a certification or do I need the certification? Do you have any perspective just on the advantages of taking that next step or even what direction someone might want to consider going? And I could poll the audience a little bit. Does everybody here have a degree? Are you interested in one? Like, where should we focus on? Higher education, like advanced degrees or entry-level degrees or certifications? Like, feel free to chime in on that. Give us.
Including the kids too, like how to put your kid through college at no cost as well. That is a big deal.
Okay, that's a whole, like, you're gonna have to stay late for that because I have
Me too. I have an associate's, and the line of work that I'm in with data analytics and project management, 99% of the time they're like, oh, you're fine. As long as you can do the work, we don't really care if you have a further degree, but I feel like I need to further my degree.
So the question would be is if you want to go into that management roles, if you want to advance in your career, then yes, you definitely need a degree because you're going to be stuck at your level. No, some companies do not require it, and all you need is the certification and then continuing education, like getting those certificates and upon certificates. But there's also universities for personal pride too, to get a bachelor's degree, you could take all of your credits and go to universities such as NAU, Ashland University, North Central University. Park only does 75%, but you could go in and you could take 90 credits of that, right? So like you have tons from work experience, and you convert your work experience into credits. That can be done too. People don't know how to do that, so they kind of throw that away. But if you pursue that, you go into the career counselor, and every single one, not a career counselor, academic career, every single university is different, so you have to find a department. In my university, we just go to the academic person. And when I worked for a community college, we had to go to the different departments, right? And they would tell us which one could be converted or not. There's also the club test and the Dante's and all these other tests that you could take that you don't actually have to take the class and sit through the entire class. You could just take that, and it's for English, for math, for anything else, and you could do that. There's peace degree. So every single college is different, but you could take up to 90 credits. So look for a college that does 90 credits, and then you only have to take the 30 credits of the university prices, and you have your degree. So you don't have to be starting from scratch, or go to university. Like ASU has pathways, and every single degree. And of course, I'm in Arizona, so I'm going to tell you Arizona colleges that I know. But if you have like specific college you're looking for, or you don't know which one, talk to me and I could look that up for you, because I know where to go and look, and how to ask those questions, what they will do that or not. Will they transfer your work credits? Because 99.9% people just don't know where to go or how to pursue it to convert your credits. And since you have so much, and I'm sure you have certifications, some certifications will count as college credits, depending on where you got them. Does it make sense? Like Syracuse University for military spouses, because I'm in a military community too, they do the, like, let's say you want to get their project management. If it came from Syracuse University, you could transfer those credits into your bachelor's degree.
That's amazing. Like,
Mhm.
so I guess one of the questions is, like, what types of classes get converted into credits? I mean, is it just
Depends on
things
the
related
university.
to the?
So so depending on the different universities, so if they're nationally accredited or regionally accredited, it's two different things. The accreditation of the university, if they're accredited by the higher commission, right? And there's like three different ones. There's four, I think. Like there's different ones, but I know like North Central accreditation, Southern accreditation. Like there's different ones. I don't quote me which ones. I can look them up really easy. But then I usually the most common one is North Central accreditation. It's the original one, and every single credits will transfer from those colleges to different colleges. However, how they transfer is up to the individual organization. So they could transfer it as electives, or they could transfer it as like specific class that is required for your degree. And how they also transfer depend on university, and then sub it into how it transfers into your particular degree. Does that make sense?
It
Like
does.
each degree has their own requirements. So if you're going to go for computer science, then you change your mind and you go for social studies. Then you go for biology, then you go for nursing. You now have 180 credits and you don't have a degree. Where a typical, of course, each degree is different, but a typical degree is 120 credits. But if you are going to go and have your job pay for it, and they require you to have a completion date depending on the degrees, then they will pay only to a certain amount. If you are going for financial aid, no matter if you pay for yourself, you have scholarships, or you have financial aid, the government will only pay up to 180 credits total. And it's less for an associate's degree. I think they will only pay up to 90 for associate's degree. So if you're going around and just getting stuff just to get stuff, you actually want to complete a degree, you're going to have to go find a college that will accept every single one. And my experience, and of course this is just personally, I've never had any issues with people telling me my college is not like good enough because it's for-profit college or anything like that. College is it's your personal preference where you want to go and your personal pride, of course, unless it's Ivy League. Of course, Ivy League is completely different.
Right. I think we're probably not including that in this discussion today. Like, but I mean, if you have a degree and you want to go for an Ivy League master's or PhD, then by all means, like,
yeah, definitely
stop you, but like, go do the thing.
So like traditionally for military, and I'll give you military colleges. And of course, right now there's a lot more colleges that are trying to get into it. Like National University is trying to get up there right now. And they're offering, I think last time I was trying to get a job with them, but it didn't work out. But they were offering scholarships for spouses, and their semesters are only 4 weeks. That's a big deal for working professional, you know, where majority of semesters are between 8, which is a fast pace, and 12 weeks or 15 weeks, depending where you are, right?
Was that specifically undergraduate, or did they have like 4-week master's classes? Because
I think they have 4 weeks masters. I don't know anything more about them, but I know that they're 4-week classes. So yeah, they could have graduate classes, and they're really great school too. There's North Central University where they will actually give you a scholarship for the graduate or doctoral, right? So, I mean, you just have to apply and where you go and what you do with it.
wow,
And
I
then,
had no idea.
yeah, there's so much. Like, if you're gonna use your GI Bill, and you particularly, if the person is active duty, they can transfer their GI Bill to their family. I looked it up right now. Let me look at this papers for the GI Bill. I think it said it has to be within 6 years of getting out. When I did it, and that's how I finished my master's degree, is I got my husband's GI Bill. So it says you've completed at least 6 years of service on the date you request to approve it. You agreed to add 4 more years of service, so you have to be within 4 years of getting out. The person getting benefits has enrolled in Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting Systems, DEERS, and then it says who is covered. You may use it for benefits while you're active duty yourself. Then you could use it to benefit until you've gotten a high school diploma or certificate. You have reached the age of 18. So that's for a family member. They have to be 18. Monthly housing allowance. So it gives the person monthly housing allowance for the family. So like if you're this is the funny part because I had to use this. If the spouse is using that benefit within active duty, then the spouse will not get the housing allowance. Yeah, but if the child is using it, the dependent, then they will.
Okay.
But once you get out, then yes, you will get it. So I waited till my husband retired, and I instantly got my housing and everything, and I finished within a year and a half for my master's. So it was kind of cool. But I knew to do that because I was in the industry. I was working for Webster University in the military community. So if you're still doing that, that would be fantastic. Now, if you're 100% disabled veteran or a Golden Star family, the states cover all of the tuition. If you have honor, if you are a Medal of Honor recipient or Purple Heart, some states will cover tuition as well. On top of the VA, on top of everything, that's a big deal. The state benefits, there's not all states cover it and not all territories do. So you could look that up at military.com/benefits.
Okay.
So that's if you're going to go undergraduate. You have to understand associate's degree is not an end. Associate's degree goes straight into a bachelor's degree, but the bachelor's degree is a end degree. You stop, you're done, and you could use it to get other bachelor's degree and transfer the credits, because how many times can you take English 101, right? But if you're going to go for a master's degree, it's a completely new degree. You start from scratch, and you could transfer 12, usually, depending on university, you could transfer 12 credits from other master's degree. So if you change your mind, into the new college or university. And usually it's between 36 or 56 credits, and you don't have to take the Englishes unless you're doing the English master's degree.
Right, of course.
So
my question was here, and then it just dashed out.
Okay.
Oh, can you use any of your work experience to get credits towards a master's program?
Depends on the university.
Okay.
It really depends. I've never really seen that, but you never hurts to ask. It's a university by university case. Yeah.
So let's talk admissions for a minute here, because I mean, whether you have, like, April has her associates and looking at bachelors, and then I'm back here like, do I want my master's degree?
Yeah.
So I see, well, GRE and other sorts of tests, and how much time do you? Some of the hesitancy is I've got this massive GRE book, and I'm like, I have to go through this thing to pass it, to prove that I can do whatever they're going to ask me to do in school, which has never been a problem anyway.
Yeah.
But let's talk about getting accepted, especially if you've done other college or looking at master's programs. Like, any insights on that?
So it depends on the university you go to. Webster University, that's my alma mater. They don't require you to do any of the GREs to get in, as long as you have a 3.0 and above GPA and you're undergraduate. And they do not have a capstone or dissertation to get your master's degree. So that's that. And I worked for them, and they paid for half of my degree at the time. And then we had to, of course, leave and go to another state duty station. That's why I stopped them, but I went back and finished it. So with them, you don't need any of that. And they have a fantastic MBA program. I loved their professors. I learned so much. I mean, some of their guidance till this day I use. Then the North Central University, you're not required to do that either. Ashland University, I don't think is required to do that. I know another military affiliated is, what is it called? Not Webster. Oh my, it's my husband's alma mater. Oh my gosh, they're Webster, Wagner. I don't know.
The WGU, the Washington.
No.
Okay.
They're usually in the military. They're a religious school, but they're out of Texas. They're required to do the GREs. It depends, and it also, like, I know for Grand Canyon University, you're not required to do a GRE either, depending on the degree.
So, I guess my first question on hearing all this is, you get this degree. Does not having to do like a dissertation, or not having had to do the GRE or any of those things getting in, does it diminish the value of that degree?
Absolutely.
It's like, you get it, nobody
knowledge.
cares how you got it, right?
Nobody cares. No, not to my knowledge. I mean, if you're a lawyer, you have to take the LSAT, I think, is the one for lawyers. LSAT, yeah. For lawyers, you have to do that. That's not going to be an option. For medical school, you're going to have to do that.
Sure.
That's not an option. But for business school, that's up to you. It's like certification. Can you work as a project manager without the project management certificate? Yes, right? But will your pay go up if you do have it? Yes. So, but if you have a master's degree, you did the work, you did everything possible, then yeah, you could, there's no standard on that at all for the GMAT. Now, if you go to a state school like ASU, they require it. But GCU, I was looking at their counseling degree, because I love doing that too, because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I still am. But with their degrees, you could get certified, get the internship, and get state certified, and you never have to take any test other than the state certification. So, and they're a fantastic school. You know, Grand Canyon University, I'm sure everybody heard of them because they had this big push on marketing when they went for profit, and then they went back to the nonprofit side. And they're super military friendly, by the way.
Can I pause here? Does anybody have any specific questions, or like, especially if you have a scenario that you're toying with, certifications, higher education resources, military community, any of those? Okay. Got a bunch of questions here. So you do like the mentorship side of things with, or counseling with students. Or is there something we should consider on the work-life balance, the time commitment to adding this to our life?
That's a fantastic question. So for every credit that you do, add 3 hours of homework.
Okay.
So for a 3 credit class in person, you should consider 9 hours of homework. So that will consider you a full-time, part-time. Now, that's in person. If you're online, double that.
Okay.
Online schools are notorious to give you busy work.
All right. So thank you for that perspective, because I would have been like, oh.
And it also depends on the professor.
Like, why is this 3 hours of work taking me 6 hours?
Yeah. So it's 3 hours of just sitting there through lectures. And then you have to do those 12, 13, 15, 25 page papers, especially with the master level programs.
Okay. Here's a great question in chat right here. Trying to figure out if you should do boot camps or the university part-time routes. Like,
What do you mean
the boot camps are there's coding boot camps to get into tech, or different. There's like
Oh yeah. Okay, I know what you mean.
the 8-week programs.
Yeah. So like
highly focused on a thing.
So the degrees will not. I always like to tell my students, even right now, the degrees not necessarily will give you into a job, guarantee you a job, because how many people have degrees and don't have jobs, right? But they will help you to promote and to get to showcase you. Does that make sense? So every of the boot camps, if you're going for coding, or if you're going for project management, or if you're going for any like leadership or resilience, there's like a coding one too. Yes, those will help you to get into the job faster. But to get promoted into higher level, if that post requires you to have a master's degree, if it's preferred, then it doesn't really matter. But if it's required, then you're done. You're stopped. You can't go any further. So personally, I have both. I have tons of certificates. I continue to do LinkedIn Learning. I continue to do, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for resilient. My degree is I went to MBA. And then I had that big break, and I was scared of the finance stuff, and I wish I would have went back. So I'm thinking of going back and getting my MBA. Honestly, I would rather get an MBA if I had to do it all over again. I have management and leadership, fantastic degree, wonderful. It's only 2 classes away from MBA, so I need to go back to the MBA. Then there's like the nonprofit side, like there's different ones. And for those degrees, it is better to have that than it is to get just a degree. For bachelor's side, unless you're doing nursing or specific coding or computer science, it really does not matter what you have. You could switch over. I think I'm going to go back to the licensures, and I'll give you some resources for that. For the licensures, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. I apologize. It does not matter what you have for a bachelor's degree, because from a bachelor's degree, if you, let's say you wanted to go for psychology, the most popular degrees are psychology and criminal justice. Unless you work in those fields and go on, it's really like just a social you can't really do a lot with it, right? So like I went in, and criminal justice for the correction officers is fantastic, right? And they'll get them promoted and all that stuff. But if I went to work for a college, I mean, it really doesn't do me much, just to say I have it. Psychology is an end degree. There's really nothing you could do with it unless you go get a master's degree. Does that make sense? Meaning,
some might argue even a PhD, right? Like
and some a PhD or doctoral, because there's different types of doctors too, right? You can't say that everybody's med. No, even in medical field, there's different types of doctors. Podiatry is completely different. They're not meds, and dentistry is completely different too. But anyway, I digress.
yeah.
Going back to the original questions of the certificate, yes, if you're trying to get your foot in the door, it is better to get a certificate right away and then see if you could convert that certificate into your college credits and then go from there. Some will take it, some will not. But if you're just trying to get in the foot in the door or get that promotion and they guarantee you that promotion to get the certificate, get the certificate. And there's different types of certificates. There's certificates that are done by private companies. Like I could go right now, start a business and say, I give you the certificate. That certificate will not transfer, right? I'm into metaphysical stuff, right? So those certificates will never transfer to anything other than my personal stuff. If you're going for a college certificates, you've seen this a lot now, especially with Coursera. I'm sure you've heard of Coursera, right? There are some certificates on there that are, I think they're $49, and now Google has one for project management. That one may transfer to a college. And then there's another one that I did was for mythology. It specifically said non-credit one, but it was given by Penn State University. So that one has a little bit of oomph because it has a educational setting. And somebody like, I don't know, I'm just going to pick a name. Don't quote me that they actually accepted, but maybe somebody from North Central University says that you have a transcript from Penn State and they'll accept it, right? I'm not sure. I don't know if they will or not, but you could try. Let me put that discllaimer in.
I think you have edX too. They do some of the Harvard classes on coding and stuff, and that might.
And they might.
In fact, it's a wonderful resource, and it's free if you want. Like you can choose to pay for the certification, but you can get the learning just because you need to get the learning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are a lot of questions here in the chat. Yeah. So let's see. Mary was trying to figure out how to, between boot camp or university part-time. We kind of covered that. And the boot camps, do cost between like $2 to $15K. And so, and then like MBAs cost $60,000. So I guess my thoughts on the financial side is if you can do a boot camp to get your foot in the door, especially if your company reimburses any tuition or something like that, by all means, get your foot in the door like that. But that's me. That's Jacqueline is very much like just get your foot in the door and you can go anywhere from there. So
for colleges and universities, never pay for them. You to make it a job to apply for scholarships because there's so many scholarships. When I worked for a community college, I worked for the Maricopa Community Colleges, and the way to find the college specific scholarships, they have them, all of them have them. You go to their financial aid page and they will list their scholarships and the dates that you could apply, and you just check and check and check. And for that, when we were in Maricopa Community College's system, there was a scholarship. A donor gave a scholarship to have if one parent was Vietnamese, you could get a scholarship. Had absolutely nothing to do with the GPA, had nothing to do with anything, just to have one parent to be Vietnamese. And nobody applied except for one Hispanic student, and that student got the scholarship because she was the only one that applied. So okay. I would just apply. I have some resources for you for that. If you are military affiliated, vet2industry.org has a whole list of, they break it down by state, by spouses, by dependents, by everything. And they're constantly updating that. If you're looking for a certificate and you are a military person, and I know I'm giving you a lot of military, but I'll give you different ones. Vetjobs.org. I saw one that I want to apply for, their Leadership Academy one. And you have to go through like 2 interviews and finish the course. Of course, there's like the Syracuse University and different ones that are absolutely at no cost. In
I actually got
Arizona.
accepted to PMP boot camp
Yeah.
just by pursuing Onward to Opportunity was another one.
Yes, exactly. And then they have like,
and it's through Syracuse, so it's that one.
Yeah, there's like 5 different ones, and if you go to the Vet to Industry events, they'll name them constantly. There's so many that it's mind-boggling. But if you want to have them in writing, just go to vettoindustry.org and you'll have them all done there. For just anybody could apply. Arizona Foundation Scholarship Opportunities, that's in Arizona, but there, of course, there might be Texas, there might be all different times. Chicana por la Casa, College Scholarship Database, that's a big one. It's just College Scholarship Database. Collegebasics.com, Fast Web Scholarship Search, GK Legacy Foundation, Hispanic College Funds. This is just a few that I know off the top, that I know where to look for. Mensa Foundation Search, scholarships.com, Soroptimist International, Soroptimist International Phoenix, because I'm in Arizona, sourceforstudents.com, Stronger Scholarships. Oh, today's a deadline. But like this is just like a small. There's another big support of scholarships, and there's a database. I think you have to pay for it though. DaveRamsey.com. He used to have a no cost one, but now they make you pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
but these are all free. There's
ton of
tons. And like for every 10 that you apply to, you might get one. That's still scholarships. Unless it stipulates there that you have to finish and all that stuff, you don't have to pay back. And a quick thing that nobody knows, well, majority of people know, if you have grants and you have scholarships, if you successfully finish your classes like with a C or better, unless of course it stipulates you have to have a B or an A, you don't ever have to pay back that money. So let's say you have $2,000 a semester from the US government, right? From the grants. Then you get your workforce reimbursement, right? And then you got 5 scholarships. Whatever's left over goes into your pocket and you don't ever have to pay it back. I used to get a lot of money that way too. And there are scholarships for master's and doctorate level.
Great.
You just have to find them.
Let's see. The one question was, do LinkedIn learning certificates, are they accepted? I'm going to probably guess no, because anybody can become a LinkedIn instructor.
Yeah.
So
That's a good question though, because I have like 20 of them.
Right.
They're great resources, but I think that's more like continuing education for yourself. There is such a thing as continuing education. Like let's say for a teacher, right? You have to have continuing credits. They will be accepted depending on the Department of Education of the state, but the Coursera will be accepted. But there's also, I knew a person that wanted to become the ESO on a base, which is the education officer, and they had a master's degree already, but they needed a specific master's degree to become the ESO, right? And so what they did was they went back to a specific college. Every college has that, and did the post-secondary certification. So if you have a bachelor's degree and you don't want a master's degree, but you want to go higher, then you could get those 15 credits to get the certificate or whatever it is. And those credits will go straight into a master's degree. And then the post-secondary, it's like a master's degree. All you need is like 24 credits, and you could use that as your qualifications as well. Okay. So like, and they'll go to your doctorate in that same university.
Sure. And Mary is asking, she's looking like, how do you find certificates that are recognized?
Each
Did you get the answer in
university
that?
has that.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, because I remember you
Yeah.
saying it's kind of dependent on the university and what they'll accept. So it's not like you want to get all the certificates and then try and find the college that accepts them all. You
No.
kind of want to take
Yeah,
what you have and apply.
it's
Is that what I'm getting?
yeah, and here's the other thing. So if you have certificates for math, and then you have certificates for geography, and then you have certificate for computers, even if you get a bachelor's degree, not all those credits will count toward that degree. That's where a lot of people go wrong, is because they take whatever classes, never seek a advisor, and then they come and they have 120 credits, and it's like, why can't I graduate? Well, you don't have the core credits done,
Yeah.
so you have to be very careful, and you have to find the right advisor too. Not everybody meshes, and not everybody gives you the right information. You know what I mean? Like, some people go, they have done this for so long, and they assume that but what I have found, a lot of people don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that advice. Let's see. So Mary is looking at business, business general, business finance, or business health, like the types of business things. She's talked to some college kids that regretted taking general business because it's not the best. And like, she's been promoted many times to assistant manager, and some want to hire her as manager, but she's scared because she doesn't have the degree. On that one, I can talk, do it anyway. Like, you'll learn on the job very fast. If they're ready to hire you, they know where you're coming from. So they should help on board and all those things. Like,
So
the degree,
that doesn't
the
matter.
degree doesn't help you often in the day-to-day job, like, because
No, it doesn't.
a lot of it is theory, right? But actually doing it for real is often very different.
The degree will help you to get, maybe will get a better pay, and the degree is a self-accomplishment. So if you want to get higher and promoted higher, maybe your company requires that, or you're going to go to a different company and you want to transition into the same role, and but pays more, and now you, in this company, you didn't have a degree and it wasn't required, but in this company it is, so you would have that smooth transition. That will help you in that. But if you're going to stay with the same company and they don't require it, that it's up to you to get it or not. I'm an educator, an advocate for education, so to me it's personal pride. Like, my daughter, she wants to go into theater, but to me, she will still get a degree no matter what. We already told her, even if you're going to go pursue acting, I don't care what you do, you need to have either a finance degree or accounting degree or managerial degree. And I would rather her have a business administration than business management degree. And the reason I say that, management you can learn. Administration, you learn the accounting, you learn the finance, you learn economics, all of that requirements to know the back end stuff. So like, why are you going to negotiate for that bigger check, or why would how are you going to balance that budget? That's where you learn in the administration degree.
I would have a high advocacy for business information systems as well, because you're going to learn business, but you're also going to learn that technology side. And there's not a job out there that doesn't use technology on some level. So that's if you're, that's the degree I have. So of course I liked it. And you know why I picked my major was because I didn't need the foreign language requirement. Which is because I was like, I can't learn a foreign language. And now with the pandemic, I've spent the last 2 years learning a foreign language just because I needed to check that box for myself. So it goes back to that personal pride. But like, I chose my major based on what classes I had to take to get it. And it worked out really well.
Yeah.
But tech, like, you cannot go wrong.
Yeah, you have to have it. And I think all business degrees have at least one tech class that you have to take. And don't forget, you could go for a business degree and have like 10 minors. I have marketing, mine is international business, minor in management, accounting, finance,
Oh my goodness.
and management, because I could check, because you have so many electives and they kind of intertwine. So I was like, okay, forget it. I'll just get all of that. And I had to take like 2, maybe 3 extra classes, and I got all that. But now I don't even put that on my resume. Like it's like, I just have an international business degree. Because once you get to the point where your degree and your experience meet, nobody really looks at it other than it's check marked. But when you're first starting out, yeah, that is a big deal. But now, like, I have a master's degree, so I don't even put down that I have a high school diploma on my resume. Why? Because the higher you go, it is assumed.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And so yes, Mary, I would be like, do business information systems. Like, you'll get your business, you'll still take some of the finance classes, the accounting, the statistics, the blah, 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 but you will also get that tech side, because she chimed in here that she's good at coding and SQL and Tableau. Great. Those are all highly needed when it comes, because everything uses data too. So the more you learn around data, and I see Eileen, like, you're welcome to chime in here. I see you put a resource at bold.org, a scholarship platform, but you're welcome to join the conversation. Please do.
My daughter is a sophomore in college, and she's going to school for free. She goes to the state flagship school. I live in Chicago, so she goes to University of Illinois. It's funny because you said about business, information science. So the university just rolled out, so they already had informational science, and I don't know if they specifically had a data analytics major. I think it was more both statistics into statistics. And then my daughter was asking me, so what they have is, so her school is known for computer science and computer engineering. She actually went in as a civil engineering major because she was passionate about environmental engineering, and then she realized maybe not, so she's in computer engineering. She didn't want to code, so she didn't choose CS. Or she wants to do minimal coding. She really hates coding. But she wants a software development job right out of school. But so one of the things that she asked me about specifically was, as she was mapping out her courses, she was like, oh man, I should have taken more statistics in the beginning to get that data science and the info science. And she's like, that's really where the demand is. Path is, she's regretting her path as an engineering major, because she was like, these kids, they have the way the curriculum's designed at her university for the business school is a lot flexible. And so these kids, academically, it's not as demanding. What they have to do, though, is do a lot more outside projects, which the university has a lot of structured programs that allow for all these amazing opportunities, versus, ironically, the engineering school essentially does not give these kids enough time for that type of things. But in tech, I'm sure you know, is they so much of it isn't learned in the classroom. It's like she has to do LEET code, but she doesn't have time to do LEET code, so she can't even pass the dumb coding test. So her internship this summer is as a solution architect, because that was her way around the coding exam.
Exactly. Yeah, there's different ways.
And she's like, why did I choose the hardest major in our school when I could have just gone into info science or statistics and had some time to get some real life.
Yeah, and they're in such demand. And like, encourage your daughter. I'm even willing to meet with her if you want, because tech has so many job roles, and I do not code. I'm actually learning it on the side because I think it might be helpful on the data analysis side, because I look at products. So we are looking at customer usage data. Like, does anybody even click on this button over here? And then if they don't, should they? Like, should we encourage that? How do we get them to do that? So there are a lot of non-technical roles in technology. You just need to know a lot of the language around it. So understanding the language around data science, understanding, like, because the theory of it, what questions should I be asking? So if I go to my engineers and say, we need to solve this problem, I need to tell them what data I'm looking for and then I need to be able to pull it into to make sense of it. So she can go into tech and take the minimal coding classes that she needs to get the degree, but you don't have to have your head down coding all the time to be wildly successful in this field. So
she's getting plenty of coding because her degree requires it, and so she's going to graduate a year early. So once again, saving money. And I have
awesome.
We have a lot. I have a bit of conflict with that because I feel like she graduated high school in 2020. So
the worst
freshman year was 100% virtual. She had each semester an in-person class, but ultimately they were virtual. Like one class met like 3 times all semester in a 16-week semester. So, but they called it an in-person class. And so, really, and then she's home this semester because she has a virtual internship. It's a special program the university has, so it's kind of a co-op, and she still takes classes full time, but she's not getting the real college experience. I feel like if she so I'm a little conflicted because part of me is like, let's see if we can drag on the curriculum and add all the fluff just so she can keep,
so she could do something called double major.
Yeah, no, I know. She thought of that, but then, we've talked to a lot of people that a lot of times companies
personally, I would just have her finish as fast as she can and have her start her master's degree. But in between, don't stop in between.
Oh yeah, no, I think she's keeping her options open. I think so her internship's with AWS this summer. And she's at their HQ2 in Arlington, Virginia. So she's going to have access to a lot of people. And I told her network the heck out of being there in front of, Amazon does so much stuff. And because they're in HQ2, there's so many people. And I'm like, find what interests, maybe you'll find something that interests you. I mean, who knows, maybe she'll decide solution architecture is what she wants to do, and then good for her.
I have an international business degree. I was supposed to travel the world and see everybody, and I speak these languages, and all this stuff, and I never once used it. I used the degree to get jobs, but I never used my field. Does that make sense? So it doesn't really matter. I mean, when you're in that age, you think, oh my God, but you could get a degree, finish it, and then go get those certificates. And it doesn't have to be the $15,000, $20,000 certificates. It could be just like a one class continuing education. I think work just wants that, because for me, every year, because where I work right now, I work in the facilities, and then I have my own company. I have to do over 60 hours of continuing education every single year. That has nothing to do with anything other than my job. So the job itself will teach her what she needs to know, as long as she has that checkbox to get into engineering. So don't ever worry about that. And she has her youth. I mean, as long as she wants what she wants and actually is motivated enough to go do it and to not cost you that much money, you got a fantastic kid.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I, suggested engineering. My family's full of engineers too.
Yes, it's a great field.
And so it's interesting because my generation, so me, my sister, my cousins, there's only one engineer in the bunch. But then our parents are engineers.
Her grandparents are proud.
So then it kind of skipped over. So now we have my cousin's daughter graduated with an engineering degree. My daughter's going to graduate with an engineering degree, and then there's younger ones below. And so, I'm like, if you can figure out how to get through an engineering school and graduate with an engineering degree, the doors just
fly open.
Wide open. I'm like, you can literally go in any direction. She's like, why are these consulting companies contacting me? Why are these banks contacting me? I'm like, no, it's that engineering degree.
Exactly. Oh, I got chills on that.
Right. And if I had zero interest, and most of my cousins didn't either. My sister sure as heck didn't. Like none of us, and I knew that engineering degree was valuable. I just didn't, it just wasn't who I was. There was no way I would have survived. There's no way.
But that's why you could go in so many directions. It does not matter. Even if she would have went to, okay, I have a story. One story is, and when I worked for Maricopa Community Colleges, of course, nursing is always popular. And everybody thought, in 2008, around that time when the market crashed and everything, everybody goes to school when the market crashes. And everybody went to the stable nursing jobs. And I would get people upon people upon people, nursing. And the number one questions I would ask them is, do you know what the nursing is about? It has a lot of money. And I would always ask them, I said, no, I just know it pays a lot. No, I just know it pays a lot. And I said, can you go and volunteer at a hospital or a older family folks facility or something, something. And I had a student come in after volunteering. He goes, my aunt works in a facility, and they agreed. It was a older folks home. And he came to me the next semester and goes, we're changing my major. I cannot stand blood. It's like, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I pass out at IVs, like for real.
Yes.
Even if somebody else is getting them, even though my heart is a nurse, like I know I'd be great at it. But not if I'm passing out on the floor.
Same thing with engineer. Like if I cannot pass basic math, why would I go toward engineering? And yes, I should have listened to my mother and got my education degree, like she said, but I could go in education right now. Like my husband has his master's degree, and he had a bachelor's. He has 2 CCIFs, billion upon billion of master instructor certificates, billion of certificates. And he had to go to post-secondary. If you have your bachelor's degree or master's degree, you could go to the local community college, do 45 credits, and you could either have the Teachers of America pay for it, or you could pay out of pocket. It's like $81 per credit, and you have your degree. And I found this scholarship for him, and I said, hey, let's go, let's do this. You only have to commit to 5 years of teaching. And he said, no way am I committing to 5 years of teaching. He is on year number 4 and we're paying out of pocket. I mean, it was not even worth it. I'm like, we could have just done it and you would have been over with. So, and the only reason we're paying out of pocket is because his GI Bill already got transferred to my daughter. So and we could afford it, of course, knock on wood. But if it was 1,084 per class versus 200, we wouldn't have done that. So it's all about personal interest, and in life we don't stay the same. Our interests change, our personalities change, everything changes. So that degree that you got when I got in my 20s, I would never have gone for it. But am I glad I have it? Absolutely. Because it has gotten me so many jobs and so many opportunities. And now that I'm interested in, let's say, metaphysical stuff, or I'm interested in, my thing is, I want to go get a certificate for leadership or project management. I'm just going to go get the certificate from Syracuse. And if I ever want to go for my doctorate degree, it's going to be in education. My whole background is education. My degrees are all business. But for my doctorate, I'm going to marry them together and do educational leadership. It's what you want.
Yeah. We are at time. I want to be very conscious of your schedule. I have a few minutes here still, but thank you. I just want to say thank you, first of all, and I will go ahead and pause the recording. And if anybody wants to connect, you can drop your LinkedIn profile in chat. Otherwise, I will be tagging Mariana as soon as I get the video up on YouTube and stuff like that. But thank you for joining us. You've given me, I took a ton of notes, and now I'm going to have to go look into this whole master's thing and figure out how I'm going to get my, what is it, 18 hours of, so I could take one class at a time and get there.
Yeah, well, and okay, sorry. That's the other thing. Nobody is ever going to know how long it took you to get a degree. You never put it on the resume. I mean, resume, what is it? Age discrimination. After 10 years, you don't put when you graduated anyway. It just says completed. So who cares? You're never going to say, it took me 12 years to complete a degree. Just go one class at a time. I think grades are more important than the time.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all this perspective. You've just poured information out, and like I'm now like, how do I capture this and let people know how cool this is? But like I said, let me pause the recording, and I just want to say thank you one more time. Thank you, Eileen, for chiming me in, and if Mary were still there, I thank her too, for asking such great questions. But yes, I just really appreciate it.
Yeah.